10,000 words of iron lungs, blood-forged bills, and a nation's transformation into a war-fed colossus. The dream industrialized, the soul mortgaged. They say we became great, we became large. But greatness without mercy is just machinery with a flag. I, I, a furnace lit with flesh, America split like a bone under pressure. The Civil War was not just a battle of brother versus brother. It was the crucible, North and South, blue and gray, a war of economics, of ideology, of ownership. Slavery didn't end because of sudden conscience. It ended because the industrial North saw a better way to profit. Machines didn't need food. Workers didn't need whips. Just desperation. And so the war raged. Over 600,000 dead. Cannon fire, trench rot, amputated limbs, and in the ruins, the machine rose. The American soul was melted down and poured into steel molds. Out came railroads, factories, barbed wire, rifles, unions, strikebreakers. 2. The engine of manifest profit. The frontier was declared closed, but capital doesn't stop, it metastasizes. Now the enemy was time, the battlefield, the assembly line. Welcome to the Gilded Age, where the streets were paved with corruption and tycoons lit cigars with the Constitution. Names like Rockefeller, these who bottled lightning and taxed the spark. Carnegie, who sold steel like the Bible sold hope. J.P. Morgan, whose suit had more power than the president's pen. Monopolies wrapped around entire industries like snakes. Trusts weren't trusts, they were chokeholds. Meanwhile, the worker toiled, no weekends, no safety, no protection, 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, 50 cents a day if you were lucky. And still, the flag waved. War. The economic wet dream America discovered something crucial. War isn't just blood, it's business. Bullets need manufacturers, boots need suppliers, bodies need recruitment posters. From the Spanish-American War to small interventions in Central America, the machine was greased. The United States didn't need to conquer, it just needed contracts. So the military-industrial bond was formed, not as law, but as understanding. You make weapons, we make enemies. Everyone profits except the dying. IV, the immigrant and the inhuman. The Statue of Liberty raised her torch, but Ellis Island was a toll booth. You paid in language, in labor, in identity. Poles, Irish, Jews, Sicilians, poor, desperate, and filled with dream residue. They were promised gold streets, they found coal dust, children worked in mines, mothers in sweatshops, fathers in slaughterhouses, and yet they believed. Believed in America like a church made of scaffolding and second chances. Because in their homelands, kings had names. In America, at least you could lie to yourself that the king was you, the strike and the state. But belief dies slow in broken backs, and so the people struck. 1877, the Great Railroad Strike. 1886, Haymarket, bombs, chaos. 1892, Homestead, steelworkers met bullets. 1911, Triangle Shirtwaist Fire. Bodies fell like birds from locked windows. Each strike was a psalm of rage. Each protest, a prayer to a god called fairness. And how did the state respond? With bullets, with bayonets, with Pinkertons, private armies of the dollar. The Constitution? Absent. The Bill of Rights? Redacted. But profits? Steady. Science, pseudoscience, and eugenics. Progress didn't just march, it goose-stepped. As industry surged, so too did a disturbing ideology. Some people are more human than others. Eugenics took root. Forced sterilizations, IQ tests, feeble-minded institutions. Darwin's theory was twisted into a corporate creed. If you're poor, it's your fault. If you're black or brown or immigrant, it's biology. If you suffer, it's destiny. America was building its empire, not just with tools, but with categories. And once you're a category, you're no longer a person, you're paperwork. The seeds of surveillance. The state began to watch, not just enemies, but the discontent. Phones tapped, letters opened, agents planted in union halls. The First Amendment became a license to listen, not to speak, and suspicion was a currency. The poor weren't just poor, they were potential agitators. The foreign weren't just immigrants, they were possible anarchists. And so the government's eyes widened, one lens on the outside world, the other permanently focused on its own people. 8. The rise of the robotic patriot. What is a patriot? By the early 1900s, it meant waving a flag while stepping over corpses. It meant pledging allegiance while your boss stole your pension. It meant loving the country like a battered spouse forgives their abuser. They told us to be grateful, told us this was the best system on earth, and maybe it was, if you owned it. But for most, It was a meat grinder with national colors. You entered with hope. You exited with debt and arthritis. Dude, prelude to global flames. By 1914, the world began to boil. Europe collapsed into trench and gas, and America watched like a vulture watches a car crash. Wilson said neutral, but neutrality is a cloak, not a shield. The arms flowed, the loans ballooned, and soon the machine couldn't help but march. 1917, America enters World War I, and every bullet fired was another dollar made. X, the lie beneath the roar. They told us it was for democracy, but Wall Street smiled. They told us it was to make the world safe, but liberty was locked in a cell. They told us it was for the future, but the future was mortgaged. The truth? America had discovered its religion, not Christianity, not freedom, not democracy, but production. If you could build it, sell it, ship it, kill with it, you were righteous. And if you questioned that, you were a traitor.